Hey everyone, Brian Hilbert here with Colorado River Outfitters, and today we're going to tie my summer sally. This is a yellow sally nymph imitation. Really easy tie, really simple tie. A lot easier than the last video that we did. Definitely beginner friendly. Super fishy bug. We got yellow sallies everywhere right now, and on our local waters. And this has been one that's been putting a lot of fish in the net. Pretty basic tie, deadly effective. Let's get right into it. All right, this is Montana Fly Company 7231. It's a 2XL curved nymph hook. This is size 18, and we've paired this with I think it's a 2.0 millimeter tungsten bead. You can certainly go a little heavier if you want. You can also do this on a jig hook. I just got some pale yellow 6.0. You can certainly play around with the colors to match your naturals. I'm usually somewhere in the yellow olive or wood duck or this pale yellow color. We're going to start our thread right behind the hook eye. Trim off that tag. And the rubber leg material is this micro floss. It's like a flex floss, but really micro size. There's a couple different manufacturers that make it. I think this is from Hairline. This is the Daddy Longlegs, but just in a yellow. And I'm going to cut a small piece, do a little pinch wrap on top to secure that, and then I'm going to wrap forward where my thread tension takes it to the far side. I'm going to pull that rear facing section or segment and bring it forward to the near side, and then we'll wrap rearward till we get to bare hook shank, and I'm just going to do a quick whip finish right there. Once I whip finish, we'll trim our thread, and then this bead should slide right up over it. I'm going to trim my antenna, maybe just a little bit shorter than the length of the shank of the hook, and we'll restart our thread right on top of the previous whip finish and trim that tag. I'm going to grab some small sculpin olive wire. This is kind of my preferred color, but you could probably get away with copper or gold or regular olive. I really like this sculpin olive color. I'm going to tie it in just on this near side, right along the side of the shank. We're going to go down to where my thread is hanging about even with the barb here. I'm going to pull that down and towards me so it's out of the way here. I'm going to uncord my thread by spinning it counterclockwise if I'm looking straight down on it. And I'm going to do some touching turns all the way back up to where we started that wire. I'm going to grab a little bit longer piece than we need of this micro floss. I'm going to wrap it around my thread. Even this up a little bit to where I have both strands facing up like that, and then I can just pull rearward as I wrap rearward. We're going to keep those right on top. This is going to be our tail. Now I like to tie the wire in first because we're going to coat this abdomen with some resin, and if you tie the wire in last, you only have one layer of thread going over it, so when you coat it with the resin, it makes the thread a little bit translucent. You'll have this dark line through it. Probably doesn't matter. I think it just hides it a little better, and you get a more uniform color on your abdomen when you cure it. We're going to take that wire, we're going to come and advance that with just evenly spaced turns. On a size 18, maybe I get about 7 wraps or so. But you want them all the same distance apart. Stoneflies have very uniform segmentation on the abdomen. We'll capture that and just helicopter it off. And I'll take this opportunity to trim those tail fibers about the length I did with the abdomen there, or with the antenna. Alright, we're going to grab some of our Solaris bone dry. You can use whatever your thin UV resin of choice is. I like the bone dry. We're just going to coat this whole entire abdomen, just like if you were doing a thread Frenchie or something. Get that all coated. Not trying to build up any bulk there, but rather just saturate that thread. I'm going to use my finger to even dab off any excess, and then we'll cure it. This will make the fly a lot more durable from the trout teeth and bounce along the bottom. It will not survive your hemostat, so if you do grab this fly with your hemos, be sure to grab it, if my scissors are the hemos, grab it from the bend of the hook back here instead of grabbing the fly right in the middle of the fly. Okay, the wing case material is kind of a fun material. This is called Duraskin from D's, what's the manufacturer's name of this? D's Flies. Yeah. It's a textured, kind of like a thin skin material, but really durable. This stuff just doesn't tear, break, or fray, or it's very resistant to UV damage. If you have it sitting on your cooler for a few weeks, the color here is beige, comes in a ton of different colors. You can use yellow or brown or golden yellow, whichever color you want. I think the beige has a nice yellow sally look to it. We're going to pull this guy out, and I'm going to cut a strip. It's about the width of, or the diameter, the width of the diameter of our bead here. About like so. I eyeballed it. We're pretty close there. Maybe we're a touch fat, but it probably don't matter. Alright, so one side of this is textured. You can feel with your finger. The other side is smooth. We're going to tie this in, textured side down, right on top. I'm going to wrap rearward to about that 50% mark. I'm going to grab some SLF squirrel dubbing, okay, and this is in golden olive. You can see it's kind of more of a yellow than anything. I really like this dubbing. It's nice and buggy. It's got kind of the perfect mix of synthetics and natural fibers. Any yellow dubbing that you like. You can even use superfine here, or just regular hare's mask, or whichever. I don't think the exact dubbing matters too much here, but any kind of yellow dubbing. I'm going to do a really thin, really tight dubbing noodle. And we're going to do just a small ball dubbing right here at the back. Okay. I'm then going to grab another piece of our floss, this little micro floss material. And we're going to tie in our first set of legs on the near side facing me. Just going to use a wrap right in front of that dubbing. That dubbing is going to help push the leg out. And I'm going to wrap just a couple of turns forward. And then I'm going to take that forward facing remaining piece and just double it over to the other side. So we're like that. I'm going to wrap one more turn rearward so it's right against that dubbing. Now I'm going to grab my same dubbing again, and I'm going to grab the smallest little wisp, and we're going to dub a little tiny tight noodle, just enough to dirty the thread here, and I'm going to cover up those thread wraps right against the legs, so we're about like that. Now we can take this Duraskin. I'm going to pull it forward. I'm not going to stretch it super tight. And we're going to tie that in all the way to the bead. And I'm going to roll it backwards. latch it down again. And I'm basically going to split the difference here so we can make 2 wing pads. I like to use my scissors as measurement. I can measure that wing pad size, put it up next to the next segment, and I know that that's going to be pretty much the same size and going to come out looking proportionally correct. We're then going to grab another pinch of that squirrel dubbing, dub it tight, and I like to do a little bit at a time here so you're not over dubbing. Kind of fill in that little gap behind the bead, and I'm going to end right in the middle of my patch of dubbing. I'm going to grab a piece of our floss and tie in a leg with a wrap and position it on the near side. Now the reason I want to dub first and then tie in the leg is if I tied in the leg first, these would just be too stuck together to kind of protrude out. This is a lot easier to work with, just a wrap, and they stick out real natural like, and I won't have to fight or manipulate them into position as I dub the rest of the thorax, or work around the legs as I dub the rest of the thorax either. So kind of a little hack there for doing the thorax. So you'll see I just did 2 wraps there. We got that other set of legs in, and we're going right back to that squirrel dubbing. Again, a small little pinch. Use less than you think you need. We're going to go real tight here, and again just enough to dirty the thread. And we're going to cover up that little band of thread we have, and this will also help separate those legs a little. I'm going to sweep these back. We'll just dub forward till we end right behind the bead. I'm going to pull that forward and capture it right behind the bead. We're going to make sure everything's nice and squared up here. Sweep those legs back and get a little turn. I'm going to take my super glue and put the smallest little dab right on my thread wraps there. And I found that if you do that and then pull this back rearward on itself, pinch her down, and when we tie this off, we do it with a little bit of a fold right there. That'll prevent that from ever slipping out. Your wing case won't come apart on you. We'll do a little 3-turn whip finish. Trim out our thread. Trim out our Duraskin as close to the whip finish as we can. And reposition our legs a little bit, and then you can trim the legs your desired length. I always try to, when I'm coming in making my first cuts, make them a little longer than I think they need to be. It's certainly a lot easier to trim them a little shorter than it is to figure out a way to try to add length. But I think that looks pretty good. So you have 2 kind of facing rearward, 2 facing forward. And our last step is to just hit our whip finish with some Solaris Bone Dry. Nice thin coat. Work all the way around the bead, and that'll ensure this baby never comes undone. And hit it with the torch. And that's all there is to the summer sally. Real simple, quick tie. You can knock a bunch of these out in a hurry. When trout are keyed in on yellow sally nymphs, this is a code cracker. This is my go-to. It's probably the only yellow sally nymph that I fish. I've done them on a jig hook as well. They're a little more challenging to tie in small sizes on a jig hook, but certainly not impossible. I like fishing this underneath a dry fly or a hopper, and they eat it with confidence. It's got a good profile and very durable. These little microfloss legs and antenna really add to the realism. I think there's a lot of patterns out there that just use the small size, and it's just not anatomically correct. These micro sizes, much more fitting for that small yellow sally stonefly profile we're going for. So tie some of these up. Let me know how they work for you. Again, it's a really fun tie, and certainly more fun to fish. Leave some comments below on what you think of this one, and if it brings you any success. I know it's going to. We'll see you guys on the next one.